On June 2nd, 2026, I was like, why don't I just make like a backrooms movie? Kind of like Kane Parsons. So I downloaded Blender. So this video is me showing some stuff behind the scenes. I'm gonna show you the first episode I made, which wasn't the one I ended up using. I'm gonna show you when I almost lost the entire project. That's a lie, it wasn't the entire project, but you know. Let's just say, I did it! So in this first clip, this is my first stream after getting Blender. I wanted to try this thing out where I would make a background and then have a monster appear in the background that I could play whenever. Let me show you. Ooh! Come on, try me. Ethan! I know you're back here. I know you're back here. That prick. Bro's threatening the green screen. What green screen? Look, I can literally touch the wall over here. As you can tell, this was very exciting for me. And after looking back on it, this was not a bad starting point. So after this, I'd made my mind. I was gonna make this thing real. So I think as the rest of the clip plays, I should explain more of the lore, because I also want y'all to understand the story more. So it was originally gonna be called Through the Earth, because, you know, it's inside the earth. The backrooms is through the earth. And when I did the original movie, well, at least the first test, the monster's textures got messed up and I just got in Blender, so I didn't know how to fix it. So I kind of just gave up on that. And then I started from scratch. In this next clip, you're going to see the first episode I made, which was originally going to be, you know, the starting point of the movie, which I eventually ended up changing. All right. Since y'all apparently are so obsessed with what I'm working on, because I know 2 of y'all were asking. Let me show y'all. I need to give you guys a little warning. If I were you, I would probably stop watching by now, because this is incredibly corny and it hurts to watch. Piece of flesh. I'll explain it to y'all. This was the animation I made yesterday. If y'all don't know, I started learning Blender yesterday. So here we have my first test. I tried making one of those backrooms videos where you're recording from a handheld camera. So this is what we have to work with from yesterday. It is 40 seconds. I don't even want to be here. No, I'm gonna go away as it plays.
I don't know how I got here. I want to leave. I could have sworn I just heard growling. No, please. What is that? No, I don't want to die, I don't want to die. I've been walking in circles for 2 hours. I'm losing track of time. What, has it been 5 hours? I don't know anymore, I don't know. No.
As you can tell, I was just using a still version of the bacteria as the monster in this one. It wasn't moving or anything. You can tell the monster sounds were just, you know, things I got off YouTube. I did end up using that in the actual episode, which was stupid of me, but you know, we all make mistakes. And the worst part is the lighting. It does not look like the lights are coming from the ceiling tiles. It looks like it's coming from the outside, which it was. This next part I'll show you is me reading the first script that I made. I'm gonna put it in 2x speed because there's a lot, but feel free to just skip ahead.
Episode 1. Skeptic at his PC, doing an intro for a backrooms game. Then he brings out a camcorder and talks to the camera. Yo, what's good, y'all? This is another video. Yada, yada, yada. Yap, 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 sahur. He drops the camera and falls into the backrooms. Cut! Wait, is this aura? Wait, hold on. Whoosh. Whoosh. Episode 2. The camera gets picked up as Skeptic looks around and says, "What is this?" He travels forward at a steady pace until he hears a chair fall. He starts running, then he finds a dead end. He gets on his knees and whimpers. The camera glitches, and Skeptic's voice is heard saying, "Wake up, he's here." Episode 3. Skeptic is walking through the maze as he vlogs. He talks about what's been happening off camera, and then he brings up that he watched last night's videos back, and he heard the voice that sounded just like him. He was really scared, but he really couldn't figure out what was making that noise. He kept exploring and chatting until he finds a door. Episode 4. Skeptic is in a long stairwell, talking about how he went through the door, but gets confused about how he can't see the end of the stairs. As he starts going down, Skeptic turns back around, and it's like he's barely even moved. He's going down, while talking about what he's going to do when he gets out. He reaches the bottom, and sees a wall. He starts going through the 5 stages of grief. He goes through the denial, anger, all of that. And at last, he yells out, "Why? Why?" Then the wall slides open, as a robotic voice says, "Password confirmed." Password confirmed. Ooh. Skeptic looks around confused, but proceeds through into a white void. Episode 5. Skeptic walks through the white void with no idea where to go. He passes by stop signs and chairs and floating TVs until he spots a house in the distance. He lets out a sigh of relief as he picks up the pace. He reaches the front door and gets ready. Episode 6. Skeptic is looking around the inside of the house. He walks up to the bright glowing window and talks to himself about what this place could possibly be. Then the floor creaks behind him. He swings around, just to see nobody? Phew, Skeptic says as he turns back around and keeps talking to himself. The floor creaks again, but closer. Skeptic scoffs and turns again to see another human. The camera falls to the floor in fear. Episode 7. It starts off with Skeptic recording his new friend, introducing him as Mike, as they mess around and laugh together. The camera cuts to it pointing into the air, as you hear Skeptic and Mike talking a few steps away, telling each other's backstories and making small little slang terms. They're slowly becoming good friends. They walk around outside until, ding, the bright white void turns black. They get confused. Episode 8. They start talking and nervously joking around to cope with the fear, until they hear a faint screech from a monster. They start running, and the camera cuts to them catching their breath. "What was that?" Skeptic asks. Mike tells him it's him. Skeptic asks, what does he look like? Mike talks about how he's this tall figure with long arms, and he almost looks like a piece of flesh, which is the movie title. Episode 9. They keep exploring the void till they see a glowing red door in the distance. As they approach the whispers of the dead, they get louder and louder until they get really close and it stops. It cuts to them in a long hall with red lights. They start walking down the hall until they hear a door slam behind them. Skeptic turns as Mike yells, "Run!" They start running, till Skeptic looks back again and sees Mike being held around the neck by him. He swings him into the air and chucks him into the ground. You see the camera fall and you hear footsteps running away as Skeptic screams. Episode 10. We see Skeptic in a therapy room, talking to a woman off screen. She asks how he found a hazmat suit, and Skeptic says he came back to check on his friend after he died. Then he took the suit off him, just to have something to remember him for, and he hasn't taken it off since. The therapist asks, how did your friend die? We were in this long hall with a red light, till we heard the door slam. As I looked back, I saw him. We tried to run, but when I looked back again, he had Mike in the air, and ... And why didn't you just leave, she says. Why didn't we leave? You don't get it, do you? It's huge in there. Every wall leads to a different type of world, almost like hell. Everything is quiet and you think you're alone, but no, you're never alone. Like, never alone. He's always watching. Cuts to a shot previously in the movie from a different angle with the monster in the back. You won't feel him until his hand is around your neck. Okay, tell me about the body. He was mangled up, and I heard his neck snap. And I also heard his scream before he went silent. When I returned to his body for the suit, he looked like a movie title, implying I said he looked like a piece of flesh.
So after hearing the first script, you can tell a lot of it stayed the same. For example, the part where I meet Mike, instead of that being inside the house, I had myself fall back into level 0. And the reason the therapist talked about why I still had a hazmat suit on, that was simply so I could make myself in a therapy room without having to, find an actual room to sit in. The one thing I would like to point out is how I kept the ending almost the exact same while scrapping most of it. As you can tell, it was a huge time skip. It went from Mike's death to me out of the back rooms in a therapist room, which also happened in the movie, but instead of being in a therapist room, I'd found peace with Mike's death. But this time, I'd also found a home inside the back rooms. But the most important detail is when I'm talking about Mike's death, and then when I bring up the monster, I describe him as a piece of flesh, because that's what Mike told me. But instead of saying piece of flesh, it cut to the title, which I also ended up doing. Here's the clip.
And I will destroy that skinny, disgusting, little... ugly.
I also ended up taking the 10 episodes and turning them into one long movie. And at the end of the movie, you see me get a phone call from Mike after his death. That part was obviously to insinuate that Skeptic had gone insane. He was going insane, whatever. So now he's getting calls from his dead friend. It was also kind of like a final goodbye, like where you got to hear Mike's voice one last time. Now it's time to move on to me reading the altered script. I changed the ending. This time you don't have to hear the entire story again. This is just the ending. Are you guys ready to hear the new ending?
Skeptic is seen destroying the door they came in through where he died. Skeptic drags away Mike's mangled up body and cleaning up. After cleaning up, he goes to the hills level and gets a flower. He goes back to Mike's death place and places the flower on the ground to show respect.
Which again, this was actually in the movie. This was just the post-credit scene. I didn't know how to make grass textures. I didn't know how to make good lighting yet, so you're gonna have to live with the quality being bad, but here's the post-credit scene.
It cuts to a black screen as a phone rings. You hear Skeptic pick it up, no confusion or anything. "Hello," Skeptic says. Then Mike's voice comes through. "I'm sorry, friend. It's not your fault." "Yes, it is, Mike. Yes, it is. But I promise with all my heart that I will avenge you, and I will make that thing suffer. I'll destroy that disgusting piece of flesh."
Now let's move on to the first actual render I made. This is the start of the movie that I actually ended up using. So you're gonna see it without the effects, without the sounds, just my raw reaction. Alright, the first render is done. This is half of episode 1 and all of episode 2. Oh, it's this one. Okay. Are you ready? I don't know why the texture just looks so smudged. Yeah, Kane Pixel literally took this from me. I can't believe it. Alright, it didn't look as good as I thought, but this is still good. See, I just need to crop this out. So you can tell the lighting wasn't the best. The movements were very slow compared to how it would realistically look. I would personally say I've gotten a lot better since then, but I wouldn't expect anything less. Now let's move on to the part I think is one of the coolest parts. I don't know why, but now let's move on to me making the intro for the movie. Okay, wait, let me hide chat real quick. Then I'm gonna be like, "Yo, what's poppin' YouTube? It's your boy Skeptic, and today we're gonna be playing a game called Escape the Backrooms. The new movie came out recently, and it was so good. I don't get why people hated it, honestly. I thought it was good. But, to make this video more authentic, I actually got a real camcorder just for this. Let me switch camera angles real quick. Then it's gonna cut to what I'm about to record over here. This should work. I don't know how bad the quality is. I don't know how I even got my hands on this. This is like really, really expensive. Yeah, so now I have like a handheld camera. I don't really know what to do with this though. As I said before, my face review is going to be at 3K subscribers, so y'all need to remember to subscribe. Go down and sub right now, leave a comment on what you want to see from me next. I think I should just get straight into the video. That was Skibidi Aura. I need to send this to myself. This is my first time seeing these two side by side. It's really funny to see. Now let's move on to part. Before I start this one, I do want to explain this is actually in between the first and the second script. So this is basically the process of what happened before I got the ending I wanted to use at the time. Okay, we definitely need, cause before I finish episode 9, we definitely need to rewrite the ending. But what do we do? I want the ending episode to be like 10 minutes long. Let's be honest, I'm not doing that. But I don't have any ideas. Cause the therapist thing won't work. What if it's like at a funeral? I thought about doing that. I also thought about making me call Mike's wife and his child to tell him his last words, but then I was like, how would I know what his children's and how would I know his wife's phone number? I also thought because to continue the series, I thought about you watch me sitting on the floor. I'm devastated. My friend just died. Then I hear a phone ring. I look to my side. There's a rotary phone.
Hello?
I'm not even shocked anymore. I've just accepted the fact that that's just a thing. I pick up the phone. I say, hello? Mike says, it's not your fault.
What's up, Mike?
It's not your fault. I know, Mike.
Yeah, I know. I know.
I miss you so much. Then we have an emotional talk. And then I end it with, I promise you, with all my heart.
I promise with all my heart.
I will avenge you. And I will destroy.
And I will destroy.
That disgusting!
That disgusting
piece of flesh. Chills. Chills, bro. Chills. Holy. I mean, that is kind of because then I can continue the series from there on. I also thought about, okay, you know, I'm just gonna leak it right now. I am gonna make an extra episode that doesn't follow the storyline where I'm being chased by a Kanye PNG. As stupid as that may sound, I actually did make that. It took me like 10 minutes to make, and I made this before I even finished the first movie. I was just doing whatever. Here's the clip. As you can tell, this was clearly a joke. I tried adding some comedy. You can tell the animation was terrible because, like, for example, I was just running faster than a human should run. Plus, I also just randomly stopped. It wasn't like I slowed down. But I think it was a great idea, and I'm actually kind of glad I did make this because this is one of the most stupid things I've ever laid my eyes on. But all great things must come to an end. So, here we have the final part called... Let's play render. Here you can very clearly see Blender crashed. I just started a render, I went to show my screen, and the second I start showing my screen to the stream, Blender crashes. Mind you, this is the first episode that I built where I didn't save it beforehand. Yeah, I know, I was stupid. Here my eyes actually tell the entire story for you. Just look at the way my eyes start darting around. And then I cover my face as I ask. I didn't just lose it, right? This is obviously the first time I've had Blender crash on me, especially where I hadn't saved it. So I instantly started typing away trying to figure out where I can load save files. Here despair starts to set in. I'm quitting the project, this isn't here anymore. Please tell me. So in Blender, you can go to recover files. You can either go to autosaves or recover the last session you were on. And when I clicked save last session, it saved the session before the one I was making. I was in shock. I really thought I'd lost everything. But after some trial and error, I pull up the auto saves and I see one of the messages that says last save 2 minutes ago. Autosave blend file from 2 minutes ago. I saved it! I saved it! So this concludes the video. This was more like a story of Piece of Flesh than more behind the scenes, because I didn't really record much of the Blender stuff, but I am posting a lot on TikTok with my progress on the third movie. This video was kind of weird to make because I don't usually make like documentary style videos. This is going on my second channel, which is Skeptech TV, so I'd really appreciate it if you guys could drop a subby. That's going to be all for today's video, and peace out. Or should I say, piece of flesh? No, like, all right.